It was 1990, and the unfortunate Pleasurewood Hills Cleethorpes site had sat abandoned for some time after the collapse of RKF, its developers. However, a deal was struck for Robert Gibb, owner of Flamingo Land in North Yorkshire, to take over the site. This deal would result in a new development being proposed to be open in May of 1993, Pleasure Island in Cleethorpes, a sister park to Flamingo Land. Only then, a theming design and construction firm called Imagination Design Studios would be given the task of using the pre-existing site to create a brand new theme park. This team of creatives was led by a designer called Mark Seddon, seen here on one of the first visits to the site to begin brainstorming ideas for the new attraction. Rides such as the Boomerang, Mini Mine Train, to name but a few, would be proposed at this time, along with a general theme for the park. This being an island taking you through various areas of Earth such as Africa, Morocco, Old England, and, finally, Spain. This area would include an indoor water trough dark ride, which would lead to the inception of Pleasure Island's most memorable and iconic aspect, Tommy Tinkaboo, along with his family and their sweet factory. The story supposedly being based on a bedtime tale the Gibb family had told their children. This would lead to an array of designs being drawn illustrating the ride and its many scenes. The ride station was originally planned to take guests over the top of the loading area in a room painted to look like the outside of the factory building. The main theming aspect of this area being a Tinkaboo sweet shop with a window full of sweets, along with a portrait of the whole Tinkaboo family. A large door marked for deliveries could also be seen. The ride's first scene was a small room themed around the sweet shop with Granny Tinkaboo sat behind a large counter, greeting you. Shelves full of sweets adorn the walls of this room, with one in particular being filled with large green bottles pouring water onto riders. You'd then enter the loading bay area, where Rover, the Tinkaboo family's dog, is spinning out of control whilst operating a small loader named Rover 2. They're surrounded by large boxes and a pile of E-numbers which one of the family members has unfortunately fallen into, kicking their legs around. Grandpa Tinkaboo can be seen operating a Tinker lift. However, instead of lifting up the box he's attempting to move, the lift elevates him instead. As you head towards the large chocolate mixing machine, milk, dark and nutty chocolate all are being mixed at once. Large sugar bags and packages full of ingredients along with pipes leading to other spinning machinery mixing nuts and chocolate can be seen overhead. A large sign is seen hanging which reads Nut Cracking Department, which is where Tommy Tinkaboo is cracking Daddy Tinkaboo's nuts. You then entered a large room covered in odd warning signs such as Don't feed the sharks, Keep off the grass, What grass, and Beware crocodiles, accompanied by a large yellow mountain of sherbet where Tommy Tinkaboo is burying Daddy Tinkaboo with sherbet. Rover is also seen jumping inside of the mountain, licking sherbet from inside of his snarl kennel, and a large machine titled The Amazing Cycle-Powered Sherbet Masher is being operated by Grandpa Tinkaboo. The next scene would take you past a large safe full of top-secret Tinkaboo recipes, which have also been plastered all over the walls, along with a large door covered in bubbles and another with a locking wheel accompanied by signs stating Special Ingredients and Experiment Room. 2 red flashing lights illuminate a radiation sign. Meanwhile, Grandpa Tinkaboo chisels away at a large mound of rock, revealing a ginormous gobstopper at its centre. A large sign overhead, illuminated by flashing lights reading Secret Recipe Memory Eraser, is seen, leading you into the licorice room. Granny Tinkaboo can be seen knitting long licorice strips as Daddy Tinkaboo winds them onto a large licorice wheel, turning the large contraption with a hand crank. Rover can also be seen jumping out of a large roll of licorice. A tall grey machine would be seen next, titled Tommy's Humbug Machine. Tommy holds a pulley string, raising and lowering a guillotine-like contraption, chopping the humbugs into size. Rover is also seen jumping around inside of this machine. Mummy Tinkaboo is also seen, standing high above on a ginormous mint machine, mixing 2 large jars, titled Black and White. On the opposite side of the scene, Grandpa Tinkaboo can be seen napping in a deck chair with a ginormous umbrella. You'd then enter the rock making room, where Grandma Tinkaboo can be seen on top of the rock lettering machine, holding a comically large spanner, attempting to fix the malfunctioning machine. Lucy Tinkaboo can be seen rolling Rover into a stick of rock, whilst Mummy Tinkaboo attempts to lift one of the ginormous sweets. In the next scene, Daddy Tinkaboo can be seen spinning around on top of a large jar of toffee, whilst Rover is trapped inside of the toffee wrapping machine. Another large machine is also seen with a gauge recording the toffee's gooiness on a chart. On the opposite side to this, a sign next to a burst pipe spewing bubbles everywhere reads, Tinkaboo's Cherryade. Next to a large bronze Cherryade machine, 2 swirly straws come out of this machine and make their way up to Lucy and Tommy, who have inflated into the shape of giant bubbles, and are bouncing around the ceiling of the factory after drinking too much Cherryade. And finally, Rover can be found in a kennel surrounded by large packages and a bone on a plate. A small sign reads, Do not touch my bone. If the rider leaned out of the boat and did so, Rover would bark at you as you re-entered the station. Soon, construction of props and sets would commence, along with its soundtrack being commissioned by Imagination Design. Mick Armistead would create the ride's iconic Tinkaboo family song, along with 3 other tracks to be played around each scene. Meanwhile, artwork and props would begin to arrive on site for installation. The ride would open with the park on the 27th of May 1993, although only semi-complete, with some scenes being quickly completed to make the park's opening deadline. This would mean main aspects of the ride, such as the memory eraser concept, would never be introduced. In 1998, the ride's entrance would receive a revamp, with large new fiberglass signage being added both outside and inside of the ride, along with the expansion of the Tinkaboo family concept, with the introduction of Tinkaboo Town, a large-scale children's play area designed and constructed by the same team behind the Tinkaboo ride. Then, in 1999, one final major addition was made to the ride, this being 4 large-scale prop machines being produced by Imagination. This was to complete the rush scenes from back in 1993, accompanied by new themed tracks for each scene of the ride, rather than playing the main song throughout its scenes. The ice cream freezer scene would also be painted in rudimentary UV artwork in the year of 2000, along with the park making a few small additions themselves, such as painting unused crates and boxes to fill out the emptier areas of the ride. In 2001, the ride had become rather dated. Lighting filters had lost their colour, the ride's animations had become temperamental, leading to it needing a refresh. This is where Rex Studios, who previously developed the Little Monsters Mischief Mansion dark ride and themed area for Flamingo Land, will be brought back, however, this time to Pleasure Island, to survey the Tinkaboo ride to see what possibilities there could be for the attraction.
legs out of the mound there, they're supposed to move, and the rover's supposed to spin round as well. So if you're interested in seeing the air compressor unit, it's just outside, it's a substantial size. Yeah. Yeah, so it's about 5 or 6 foot tall. We'll have a quick look, but just out of interest. I mean, give us some idea what capabilities. Rock with the dog in it, just next to the cycle. She's actually supposed to move as well. She's supposed to roll it forwards and backwards. Yeah. See where the paper is stuff before. That's fine. Do you have a layout of the ride? Yeah, we've got a rough layout. So we can back in the building. That's fine. Take about 5 minutes to locate. That's no good. Yeah, it's quite a long ride. Yeah. I mean, even results are having, as you've seen, a member of staff around them. I have to do anything to these, whereas we usually have at least 24 laps a week.
Rex Studios, well known for their UV artwork, would be given the task of revamping the existing ride into a whole new experience. Various artist impressions were produced at the time, illustrating what the reimagined ride could look like. These were then presented to the park's management. This would form Tommy Tinkaboo's Sweet Adventure. Improvements would include repainting the whole ride in UV artwork, the addition of over 20 animated figures called the Toffee Heads, which were originally larger and more oval in shape. However, this was later changed to smaller, more human in appearance animated figures, which would be built by David Aldridge of Aldridge Animations. A whole new soundtrack was also proposed, produced by John Franklin and Kevin Finn. In the winter of 2001, the original sets would be stripped down in preparation of the major revamp work to commence.
Based on the other submarines, which is actually pretty cool. Yeah, another thing, I just want to rattle through these things quickly together. The Hey Jude piano came up for sale at auction recently. I think Mick we're buying a bit of your history back.
I feel a bit daft about that, you know. I mean, obviously I've got a few things. I've got the piano that I wrote all that stuff on, so that's kind of good enough for me. I feel a bit silly paying the stuff that, you know, I got for like nothing, or, you know, just price a little bit inflated now, you know, so I don't get too much of that. Occasionally there'll be some music that I like.
Scenes would be painted, props sculpted both on-site and externally over the space of a few months. The ride would be fully transformed, ready for its grand reopening at the start of the 2002 season. It would open on the 27th of May 2002 by Tommy Tinkaboo himself and the park's manager Neil Ireland. It would continue to operate almost unchanged for 14 years, quickly cementing itself as one of the most memorable aspects of Pleasure Island, also becoming extremely well known by the locals of Cleethorpes and Grimsby. However, in 2016, the ride would close with the park due to a decline in visitor numbers, plummeting to around 120,000 visitors per year, compared to the 250,000 people coming through the gates around the time of the ride's opening. It would stand dormant for almost 2 years before being auctioned off in 2018 by Prestige Auctions of Grimsby. This would lead to many of its props relocated to other businesses, such as the Skegness Fudge Outlet, Twin Lakes Extreme Scream Park, in one of their Scare Maze attractions, and many other props ending up in private collections. The ride's building still stands as of 2024 in an extreme state of decay. The building is marked for demolition as part of the redevelopment plans for the Pleasure Island site, if planning permission is granted.